Hi, this is Mason Winfield with another installment of Psi-Friday with Mason. As the veterans of this program might understand, some of the time I talk about what's trendy in the world of the paranormal. Sometimes I talk about what's timely, what's going on now. Sometimes I talk about something I just feel like talking about. This week we are going to go timely, because it was 37 years ago, on a May 13th, that a great adventure happened in the paranormal history of Western New York. There was a rumor panic, a flap. It threatened to break out into virtual armed combat in one of the parks of Jamestown, New York. And it started out like this. You know, all of these things have antecedents. They've all got roots. And you know, the West, the Christian West, has been plagued with rumors, with panics, with hysterias. They sometimes think that mass cults of Satanists are lurking beneath the surface of our society. They're kidnapping the most vulnerable among us, the children, and committing terrible crimes in the name of Satan. And whether or not you believe that this is or ever was true, and that's something we can discuss someday, because the roots of Satanism, the roots of these panics, these cults, whatever they are, they're very interesting, and they're not simple. So we can talk about that someday. But for now, I think we should go back to the 1970s, because with the advent of films like The Exorcist and many of its imitators, there was a broad mainstream interest in Satanism and cults and ritual abuse, at least as entertainment. It became a subject of such interest to the general public that mainstream TV programs, ABC 2020, Geraldo Rivera, they were having panel discussions. They were interviewing traveling experts on recovered memory syndrome, busting satanic cults. And it seems to have come to a head in around April 1988. We know that some prominent speaker in the paranormal field gave a lecture somewhere in the southern tier. I'm having trouble tracking it down. It doesn't seem to have been something that was written about in any of the papers I've been able to access. Nobody's left to talk to. I don't know who the speaker was. I do know that Ed and Lorraine Warren, the demonologists, were appearing in the area from time to time. They were popular in Olean at St. Bonaventure. I do know that a very respected parapsychologist named Dr. Alec Tanis, who died in 1990, I know he had been giving talks occasionally in the area. But all I'll tell you is this. By the spring of 1988, the matter was coming to the attention of the authorities, including the academics. Jamestown had one white kid with dreadlocks. It was a kid named Jeff Victor. His dad was a college professor, a sociologist, and he started noticing that this son of his, who'd never been picked on or considered too much of an oddball in any way, was starting to get harassed a little bit. So were his free-spirited buddies. So that got the professor thinking, talked to the cops. It turns out that a rumor had started that on May 13th, 1988, that's a Friday night, Friday the 13th, a satanic cult was going to kidnap blonde, blue-eyed virgins, haul them into this park, and sacrifice them at midnight. And all the heroic young kids, all the young jocks get into their cars and they're carrying baseball bats and weapons of all kinds. And I don't know if they had guns, but they were flocking in on this park at about 9:30 one night, waiting for the sun to go down. They're going to camp out and catch the Satanists. Well, there weren't any Satanists to be caught. And fortunately for us all, the police redoubled their efforts, brought in reinforcements, blocked all the roads to block these dozens of cars bringing hundreds of guys. And a potential tragedy was averted. But never forget how close we can come to something like the Satanic Panic of 1988. Let's all behave this Friday the 13th to come. We got our own Friday the 13th in a couple months. My friends, thanks for joining us on Psi-Friday with Mason. Look forward to seeing you next week.